Chances are he wouldn't have liked you. And even though he was a wanted man, Kenner and Lucasfilm didn't think he deserved a real name. So for now, this is the Walrus Man episode. He picked a fight with the wrong farm boy and was best friends with Dr. Evazan. He had a few lines and we will never know what he said, but it was enough to earn him his very own action figure. We first spot Walrus Man when Luke enters the cantina and takes in the crowd. He's standing with Dr. Evazan near Obi-Wan and Chewbacca at the bar. Luke joins Obi-Wan at the bar and orders a drink. Walrus Man shoves him and yells something Luke can't understand. Dr. Evazan then taps Luke on the shoulder and starts picking a fight. Obi-Wan tries to calm things down by offering to buy them a drink, but Dr. Evazan shoves Luke across the cantina instead. Walrus Man and Dr. Evazan both draw their blasters, forcing Obi-Wan to ignite his lightsaber and cut them down. The last glimpse we get of Walrus Man is his bloody arm and blaster lying on the cantina floor. When I first saw Walrus Man in the movie, I thought he was terrifying. So real, so alive, and the grunting voice freaked me out. I always assumed Obi-Wan had taken him and Evazan out for good, but in Legends and canon, they both survived. Walrus Man would get a proper name, and Evazan would get a first name. Ponda Baba even gets a new arm from Evazan in later stories. They pop up in tales like From a Certain Point of View and various comics, long after that cantina scuffle. Honestly, I wish they hadn't. What I did love, though, was their brief appearance in Rogue One. It was short, perfect, and reminds me why Rogue One is still Disney's best Star Wars effort to date. Walrus Man made his first appearance on the 20-back Star Wars card, as part of the second wave. He never received a Power of the Force or trilogo card. The image is from the cantina and is from just before Luke gets to the bar next to Walrus Man. The image never changed and is a great headshot of Walrus Man. That being said, it feels very vanilla, as it does not connect to the movie anymore. Well, the tusks do all the work. They are the only part that really resembles what we see on screen. Both have two eyes, but that's where the similarities end. On screen, he has a big head. The figure's head is puny. On screen, his skin is gray, like a walrus. The figure is dark green. The hair is completely missing. The tusks come in two variations, pink and white, with the pink version being the more sought after. Those unique tusks remain the defining feature, helping keep him recognizable as Walrus Man. The accuracy is disappointingly low. The only thing they got right was the color of his top, orange. On screen, it's clearly an orange jacket with matching sleeves, while the figure has an orange top with dark blue sleeves. The hands are also dark green, the same as the head. The sculpt is off too. Walrus Man is short and stocky on screen, but the figure is thin and elongated. I think the artist may have been inspired by the name, giving him aquatic features like fin-shaped feet, which somehow fit into those boots. I'm kind of impressed that the artist continued the pattern of his shirt down the legs, but if the corresponding parts aren't painted, it's mostly a wasted effort. We only get a brief glimpse of his weapon after Obi-Wan has cut off his arm. It appears to be a blaster pistol, not the E11 Imperial blaster. Once again, it seems they borrowed another blaster already in production for the first wave. Since he's a bad guy, he gets the Imperial blaster instead of Han's DL-44, which probably would have been a closer match. In a way, though, this makes him a potential donor if a Stormtrooper or Death Squad commander ever lost their weapon. Just saying. You know what? This is actually pretty good. He holds his blaster at a 45-degree angle, which really adds to his street cred. There's a natural bend in the arm, and what I've always appreciated is that you can make him look like he's looking down the barrel of the gun. The hands were also designed with the blaster in mind, as he has a better than most grip on it. It's not much of a surprise, but when standing, the figure is closest to tipping over when its arms are at its sides, similar to the Stormtrooper. It is most stable when at least one arm is extended. Thanks to its flipper-designed feet, the figure actually has a surprisingly large footprint. For our second career, my wife and I started Fresh Solutions Therapy. We're seeing a growing number of parents looking for support with their teens, whether it's substance abuse, bullying, relationships, depression, conflict with the law, or declining school performance. We can help you navigate these challenges so you can show up at your best for your teen during these difficult times. If this sounds like you, please visit freshsolutionsTherapy.ca to schedule your free 15-minute consultation with one of our therapists. You don't have to keep dealing with this on your own. Out of the original 20, this feels like the weakest effort. And it doesn't help that the character himself isn't very likable. He's not the only figure whose costume looks made up compared to what we see on screen, but his stands out as the worst. The dark green skin is a huge miss, and paired with the small head, it gives the figure an insect-like look. I also don't care for the wiry build. It just doesn't suit Walrus Man. The sculptor went to the trouble of carrying the shirt pattern around the legs and torso, but then nobody bothered to apply paint to make it all match. It comes across as lazy, especially since we know they were capable of doing it. I'm also not a fan of the flipper boots, which feel more inspired by his name than his movie appearance. On the plus side, he does hold a blaster really well, and he's got pretty solid balance for display. Fortunately for Walrus Man, his tusks are so unique that the figure is just recognizable enough to not be mistaken for anyone else. Looking back, it's surprising that Kenner went to the trouble of making Walrus Man but left out Dr. Evazan. Much like R2-D2 and C-3PO or Han and Chewie, the two are inseparable. Evazan is the voice of Walrus Man. I have a feeling that was due to self-imposed cap of 20 figures, and he simply didn't make the cut, like other notable exceptions. This was probably the figure we wanted least. He was probably on the pegs by the dozens, easy to find and rarely anyone's first choice. Chances are, if you had him, it's because an aunt bought it as a present and she thought she nailed it. I had this figure, and even early on I could tell he wasn't very good. This orange is unmissable in my collection. Grouped in with my alien bad guys, and I seriously doubt he's even holding a weapon. For me, he quickly became a weapon donor, and most of the time he was just there to make up numbers. He was my guinea pig figure. If I was going to put a figure at risk, it was Walrus Man, just in case. I can't say I ever cared for him much. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed and commented. It's always appreciated. I want to hear your Walrus Man theories. Did he survive the cantina? How did you like his figure? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. We're quickly approaching the end of the original 20, and if there's a list or countdown you'd like to see about them, leave a comment here or on my Facebook page. I post the episode thumbnail there 24 hours before each episode. But if you know your Star Wars, you already know who's next. Until then, take care.